Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Shinta and today me and my friends going to talk about surface transportation. Let me start by giving you the overview of surface transportation. Surface transportation is the movement of people or goods by means of transportation on the highway, such as buses, trucks, or taxis, trains, ships, and speedboats. Because this definition indicates transportation on the surface, aircraft transportation is not included in surface transportation. One type of surface transportation, which is now being developed in big cities in the world, is the mass transit system. It is a transportation system designed to carry large numbers of passengers in metropolitan cities. There are several types of mass transit systems, including monorail, subways, elevated trains, elevated bus rapid transit or BRT, and ferries. Mass transit or mass transportation in its subsequent development refers to shared public transportation from downtown to the suburbs. People who work in city centers go from their homes in the suburbs every morning by using mass transit such as buses, trains, electric trains, and even ferries. In the afternoon, these employees return to their homes on the outskirts of the city using the same mass transit. The type of mass transit that is currently being developed rapidly in developed countries is rapid transit. This term refers to a fast-moving passenger transportation system in urban areas with large passenger capacities and frequent and regular departures. And the second is about transport, tourism, and the tour. The modes of transportation in which tourists travel may be the main motivation for traveling. Some tourists will be very excited if their vacation agenda is offered a mode of transportation in the form of a luxury cruise, ship, or bus. In this condition, other components of tourism such as accommodation, tourist destinations, food, and drink become the next motivation for traveling. However, a large number of tourist trips still require special managerial skills, especially how logistics and transportation are managed. For the transportation sector, managing transportation supply so that it meets demand, operates efficiently, on time and comfortably is the basis for the success of tourist transportation. In the next section, land and water and transportation modes will be discussed. Okay, so now let's move on to land-based transport. Land-based transport is often neglected in discussions of transport and tourism, and yet it forms the dominant mode of travel for many domestic tourist trips. Air travel normally attracts more attention due to the scale and pace of development in this market since the early 1970s. However, land-based transport has a long history and covers a number of distinct forms: the car, the cycle, bus, and coach travel and train travel. Next, about the car and tourist travel. In the post-war period, the growth of car ownership has made tourist travel more flexible, but it has also induced overuse at accessible sites. Ease of access fueled by growth in road building and the upgrading of minor road been a self-reinforcing process, leading to overuse and greater dominance of passive recreational activities. Car ownership expanded rapidly in most countries in the 1970s and 1980s, adding pressure to the road network, especially at holiday times. Among the key factors which affect the use of roads by tourists are access, the quality of the infrastructure, grades of road and signage to steer tourists to tour areas, which may be off the beaten track. Intermodal connections between different modes of transport, between airports, ports and rail termini, and tourist areas are also important. There is also recognition that tourist areas need to develop new linear, land, and water corridors that integrate various forms of transport to explore scenic regions. One additional area that is worthy of discussion in terms of road transport is the car hire industry. This is neglected in many studies of tourism and transport, and yet it is a major driver of car-based activity. The car hire business can be divided into three distinct segments. Airport rentals, which often command a 15% premium charge over and above other rentals due to the charge imposed by airport authorities. These are based on the principle that is a captive market which is able to pay the price demanded. This may be the case for corporate travel, where such prices have been discounted on the basis of volume. Business and leisure travelers pay premium prices. Long-term rental location. And the last is replacement vehicles for corporates and individuals whose are off the road being required of service. Next, my friend will talk about the next topic.
Hello everyone, my name Asep Akbar. I will to talk about a part of land-based transport, such as cycling, coach and bus travel, and the last rail travel. The first, cycling. Bicycles are used by tourists either occasionally by those visiting a destination, who may hire a cycle for a day or long-distance cycling holiday undertaken by the more determined. Armstrong defines cycle tourism as cycling that is part of the primary activity of a holiday trip. It falls within a categorization of activity holidays. Leisure cycling has great potential for growth. It can be a stimulus to tourism. It is a high-quality way to enjoy the countryside and a good way to introduce people to cycling for their everyday transport needs. To encourage leisure cycling, there needs to be small-scale improvements, especially near where people are, followed by later signposting, marketing, and information. Flagship leisure routes using quiet roads or decision railway paths can increase the profile and boost leisure cycling in town and countryside. A later study by the Countryside Commission 1995, the market of recreational cycling in the countryside identified some of the main motivation for cycling, including first, keeping fit, second, having fun, third, getting some fresh air. Fourth, accessing the countryside. In a tourism context, Lonsdale study simplifies the market segments involved in cycle tourism to include holiday cyclists, comprising families or friends who seek a holiday where they can enjoy opportunities to cycle but not necessarily every day. The second, short break cyclists who seek to escape and select package that will provide local knowledge with or without cycle hire and comfortable accommodation. And the last, day excursionists who are casual cyclists who undertake leisurely circular rides of 15 to 25 kilometers. They are not prepared to travel long distance to visit attractions or facilities, but prefer to seek country lanes which are signposts. The second part of land-based transportation is coach and bus travel. Page 2007 mention bus and coach travel assumed a growing significance in the 90s in most countries. Bus travel usually refers to a specific form of urban and rural passenger transport which may use at the destination they are staying at. In the UK, a bus trip is defined as a 24-kilometer or less trip, with coach travel replacing that travel over 24 km. The European Conference of Ministers of Transport 1987 classified the international coach travel market in terms of three categories of service: scheduled, shuttle, and occasional service. The first, scheduled service, their service transport passenger of specified time, often based on a timetable over specified routes. They involve the picking up and setting down of passenger at established stops. The second, shuttle service. This consists of trips transporting group of tourists or individuals from the same point of departure to the same destination. Later, the traveler will be transported back to the original departure point, and the service usually involves accommodation for the group at the destination. The third, occasional service. This includes a range of different services such as closed-door tours, and B, service with the return trip unleaded, and C, all other services. And the last part of land-based transportation is rail travel. Globally, railways are a major mode of moving tourists and leisure trippers around countries and between with increasing congestion on many of developed countries' road and air networks. Rail travel has a number of lateral advantages over competing modes of transport. The convenience of rail travel for short to long distance trips from one city center to another. The use of rail in relation to tourism and leisure travel occurs under a number of journey types, with a combination of types in the typical tourism and leisure journey. It is clear that rail travel, aside from commuting, offers a wide range of options for tourists and leisure travel. In Europe, rail continues to have a slow rate of overall growth compared to other modes of transport. At a pan-Europe level, rail travel is constantly outperformed by the increase in air and car-related travel of around 2 to 4% per annual in the volume of passenger kilometers traveled.
Hello everyone, my name is Hasbiya Kanza and today I'm going to talk about water-based transportation. So, water transportation is the cheapest and the oldest mode of transportation. It plays an important role in the tourism sector and has developed into an industry in itself. Water transportation related tourism sector can be classified into cruise industry and ferries. Ferries are generally used for transportation over relatively short distance as compared to cruise ship which transport more number of people over long distance. Now, let's move to the types of water transportation. There are 3 types of water transportation. For the first, there is cruise. A cruise ship is a passenger ship used for pleasure voyage, where the voyage itself and the ship's amenities are part of the experience, as well as the different destinations along the way. The cruise industry is one of the most important growth sectors in the tourism market. Over the past few years, the cruise market has seen an enormous growth in passenger numbers, while an increasing number of new cruise destinations are emerging. This growth has given rise to a demand for very large cruise ships. Cruise tourism can be defined as a luxurious form of traveling involving an all-inclusive holiday on a cruise ship of at least 48 hours, with a set and specific itinerary in which the cruise ship calls at several ports or cities. The cruise industry today is dominated by some of the big companies which offer unmatched luxury on board, like themed restaurants, casinos, live entertainment on board, swimming pools, movie theaters, gaming zones, and tour excursions at ports. Cruise ships offer vacation to destinations like the Caribbean, Mediterranean, Far East, and even Alaska and the North Pole. Below are some of the biggest cruise companies in the world. They are Disney Cruise, Royal Caribbean Cruise, Holland American Line, Oceania Cruise, Norwegian Cruise Line, Costa Cruise, Princess Cruise, Crystal Cruise, and Silver Sea Cruise. And for the second, there is ferries. A ferry or ferry boat is a boat or ship used to carry primarily passengers and sometimes vehicle and cargo as well across a body of water. Most ferries operate on regular frequent return services. Ferries form a part of the public transport system of many waterside cities and islands, allowing direct transit between points at a capital. It costs much lower than bridge or tunnels. Ferries are more functional modes of tourist transport than cruise ships and are used to cross stretches of water. The ferry company plays a significant role in giving the best ferry ride experience to their passengers. They decide who will man the ferry, how the service should be given, the route, and the various activities and amenities on board the vessel. There are examples of two ferry operators in the world. There are BPDS Seaways, Bluebird Cook Strait Ferry Service, Brittany Ferries, and Tolling Silja Line. And for the last one is waterway. A waterway is any navigable body of water. Waterways can include rivers, lakes, seas, oceans, and canals. Waterways are critically important to the transportation of people and goods throughout the world. Waterways are a key focal point for travelers, whether it is just a way to get from A to B, or take in the scenery along a river or around a lake, or to enjoy activities such as boating and sailing. In order for a waterway to be navigable, it must meet several criteria. First, it must be deep enough to accommodate vessels to the design draft. Second, it must be wide enough to allow passage of the vessel with the design width or beam. Third, it must be free of obstacles to navigation such as waterfalls and rapids or over a way around them. Then, its current must be mild enough to allow vessels to make headway upstream without undue difficulty. And the last is the wave height must not exceed the value for which the class of vessel is designed. So guys, maybe that's all from me.